Amid Beis, on page 100, key. Let me tell you what's going on. The Rebbe is talking about the difference between Maise and Kavon, Ruchnius and Gashmius. Maise means either speaking words of Teira, Tefillah, Bechsamaz, and Krishma. That's Dibur. And Maise, of course, means doing mitzvahs practically. Kavana means to have an understanding of what you're doing, to have Avos Hashem, and to have Yiras Hashem, and stuff like this. Of course, the Ikir is the Maisa mitzvah, it's called the idea of Dira B'tachtainim, but you should know that Kavana is also important. And the Lashon that he brings is mitzvah b'lei Kavana, guf b'lei neshama. Mitzvah done without a Kavana is like a guf without a neshama. And he says, I want you to know something. You're going to see this in mitzvah on the bottom of this page, 5 lines from the bottom, which is really tomorrow's shiur. It says, Hey Nissan's shiur. El mapnei shezeu gam kein nitzeinei yizbarach. Kavanas on mitzvah is also a mitzvah. Hashem wants kavana. If Hashem didn't want kavana, this Perek Lamed Ches wouldn't be true. In other words, mitzvah b'lei kavana may feel like guf b'lei neshama, but if the Eibush is only interested in guf, if the Eibush is chop wood, the whole Yiddishkeit is chopping wood, to that we the whole Yiddishkeit. But he wants the kavana. Now, here's the dilemma. Without Yiddishkeit, this hester upon him, right? Says the Rebbe, don't kid yourself. The hester upon him of the Eibush in the guf is the same as hester upon him of the Eibush in the neshama. The neshama of a Balchai, the neshama of a Rosha, it's the same as the guf. The hester upon him. On the other hand, Beli has to upon him when a Yid tells Teira mitzvahs and you reveal the Eibush, like it says in Tanya Perichov Gimel, that Hashem is how revealed. How revealed is the Eibush Teira mitzvahs? He can't be revealed anymore. What's what Beli has to upon him? He's not hidden at all. And why do we say dafka a negative term? We don't say begili mamish. We say Beli hester, because if you say positive, it can always be more. If you want to describe something that has no limits, the only way to describe it is not to say what it is, but what it is not. So now, if a Yid is mamshech alakus, Beli has to upon him because he's doing Teira and mitzvahs, so right there. If you're revealing Atzmos Ein, it doesn't matter if you're doing it in a Maisa, it doesn't matter if you're doing it in a Kavan. If the Eibishter wants you to do this, right, and it becomes Pnimis Ratznalim V'Chavtei Amiti, and therefore when you do it, you're mamshech gil Pnimis V'Atzmos Ein, the same God that's in the Kavan, the same God is in the Maisa mitzvah. So in Manav Shach, there shouldn't be a difference between an act of a mitzvah and the Kavan of a mitzvah. Because without Yiddishkeit, it's the same hester upon him. With Yiddishkeit, it's the same Beli hester upon him. The Alter Rebbe Afal Pikein. Still, even though it's true that Maisa and Kavana are both Yiddishkeit, they're both Ratzon Ha'elyon, therefore there's Beli hester upon him. And if they wouldn't be, they would be equally hester upon him. Still, there's a difference. What's the difference? So he gave us a mashal. He says you cannot compare the amount of chayas there is in a dead body, in a stone, as there is in a living body. There's much more gili of life in a neshama than you see in a guf. Okay, and I'm reading now, which is Daf Nun Amud Beis, second line from the top of the page. Ki b'gufa gashmi v'hadem mamish. In the physical, ki b'gufa gashmi, in the physical body, v'hadem, as well as, of course, in an inanimate object, in a stone. Because when he says gufa gashmi, he doesn't mean a lebedik guf, he means a toite guf, or just the guf by itself. V'hadem mamish kavana v'yof. And an inanimate thing, a mineral which has no visible vitality in life, like a stone or like earth. Ha'ara, the gilu of the Eibush Bechinas Tzimtzum Gadol, is much, much more contracted. Asher ein komayu, it has no comparison. V'achai yishabei, and the amount of life it has is muetes kol kach, it's so small. How small is it? She'ein be'afilu ke'ech hatzemeach. It doesn't even have the power of tzmicha, of sprouting, of making things grow. Now, I want to just make a bavaranish. In Rishonim, in Mefarshim and Chumash, when they speak about life of plants, they use the word koyach. In biology, plants are just another philo. They're just another group of living things. In science, there's animalia, and then there's, plants. I don't know what the word is. They're all alive in the same way. They conform to the basic laws of a living thing. But in Teira, it's two kingdoms. A plant is a lesser living thing than an animal. And the terminology is interesting. When they talk about plants, they use the word kayach. And when they talk about animals, they use the word nefesh. In other words, a plant is considered an energy. That's what the word koyach means. Nefesh means a soul, a lebedik ezach. He says, she'ein be'afilu koyach hatzemech, even the power of sprouting forth a living thing at a level of plants. Ubetzemech, and of course in plants, the light is not so concealed. Of course, then in an animal it's more revealed, and in a human being it's the most revealed. For derech in general, in the Chlekas Abba Madregis, it's 4 categories. Daimim, Tzemeach, Chai, Medaber, inanimate, plant life, animal life and human beings who can speak and can put together words and sentences and so forth, which are of course connected out the Shem Havaya Baruch Hu. They correspond to the four letters of the Shem Havaya. That the daimim would be the hey, and the tameach would be the vav, and the chai would be the hey, and the medab would be the yud. Shemenu nishpoim, from which they get their life. Just like we cannot compare, there's no similarity between the light and the bringing down of vitality in a mineral and in a plant. And now he puts mineral and plant together. You see? To the amount of light and energy which is drawn down into an animal and in a human being, because animals and human beings are far more living than minerals and plants, because plants have only a koyach for life, animals and human beings are alive. Now, he repeats himself, what he said in the bottom of Amud Aleph, though they're all equally the same, and the idea that in Klipa Hashem is not revealed, it's equal in Adam that's Klipa, it's equal in Deibam that's Klipa. In other words, if it's Klipa, the same Hester Panim exists. It's the same garment which is affecting the concealment, the Hester Panim, in a Deimim, in a Tzemech, in the Chaya, in a Medaber, who's Nishken Yid, which is the garment of Noiga. Nevertheless, even though it's true that at the level of Hester Panim they're all equal, and let me add, flip it over, now add Yiddishkeit to it. Yid brings Yiddishkeit into Daimim, Yid brings Yiddishkeit into Tzemech, Yid brings Yiddishkeit into Chai, or Yid brings Yiddishkeit into Medaber. Or, I'll say it a third time, a Yid does a Yiddishkeit which is Daimim-like, which you'll see soon means Asiyah. A Yid does Yiddishkeit which is Tzemech-like, which you'll see soon means Dibur, mitzvahs of Dibur. A Yid does Yiddishkeit which is Chai, which is a level of Kavanah called Tivium. A Yid does Yiddishkeit level which is called Medaber, which is a Yiddishkeit called Kavanah called Sichlim. You see later on in the Pedic, the Gilui, the Beli Hester Panim is also the same. Says the Rebbe, Afal Pikei, nevertheless, Kach, similarly, Ein Erech V'Dimyan Klal, you cannot compare and measure at all. Bein Ha'aretz V'Hamshachas Ein Seiv Baruch. When you talk about the revealing and the bringing down the Eid Ein Sof, which we called in the previous Prakim Shechina, which is brought down into this world through the bittul of a Yid, which is Mamsha the Shechina, which is the inner will of the Eibishter. That in the will of the Eibishter of Yiddishkeit, this Beli Hester Panim Lavush Klal, there's no concealment whatsoever. Hashem is fully revealed. Still, there's a difference between the Beli Hester Panim, Hami'iram Ulubeshes B'mitzvahs Maisiyas Mamish, that's revealed and that's shining and is revealed in actual mitzvahs, V'chein b'mitzvahs Luis B'dibur B'tis Fasayim, as well as mitzvahs that are connected to speech and the moving of the lips, beli kavana, with the deficiency in kavana, shu nechshav kamaitza mamish kanal, which is considered only like a deed, and it's much less legabe if you were to compare it to ha'ara, to the light and to the bringing down of the infinite light of the Eibishter. And again, I tell you, this is called in the previous prakim Shechina, and the keli for Hamshachas Shechina is the bittul. Hami'ira, which is reshining, and is revealed, b'kavanas mitzvahs ma'asis, in the intent, in the neshama that I invest in mitzvahs ma'asis, shaha'adam, that a person, miskaven, has a kavana, ba'asiyasin to do them, kedei le'davka be'yizbarach, that the mitzvahs should attach him to the Eibish, they kiyum reteine, by doing the will of Hashem, shehu reteine yachad, that Hashem and His wishes are one. So when you do a mitzvah, that's an act. When you have a kavana, that through this mitzvah, it's going to be to the Eibish, that's a kavana. The mitzvahs are b'li Hester Panim. Hashem wants them. Why did Hashem create the world? For Torah mitzvahs. So since this is Pnimi Tzatz now and B'chavtzi Amiti, the Eibush has revealed the b'li Hester Panim. He's revealed in a Maisa, He's revealed in a Dibur, He's revealed in a Kavanah, and there's no difference. This is the commandment of the Eibush, and this is the commandment of the Eibush. At the same time, in the Kavanah you feel it more. Another example, of course, is the same. But Kavanah Satfilah, the Kavanah you invest in davening as opposed to simply speaking the words of davening. Or Kriyashma, Bercheseo, or Shar Brachas. Krishman, the brachas of Kriyashma, and the rest of the brachas of Shabbat Rabbanan. Shebe kavanah soy, that through the kavanah specifically, behind in them, medabek machshavte v'sichlei be'yizbarach, you're connecting your thought and your brain in the Eibishter in a way that would not be connected through the Asiyah Mamish. So the Alter Rebbe is really putting himself in a very, very uncomfortable spot, because he's Mamish saying two hafchim. Mitzad echad, if it's klipa, it's all the same. It's noiga. If it's Yiddishkeit and Kedusha, it's b'li Hester Panim, it's weiter all the same. Nevertheless, Kavan has more than nice. Why? I don't know. The only thing I can tell you is you feel it more. That's the only husband. Chotcha what you feel is immaterial. When you do a mitzvah and your mamshech atzma seid in sof, you feel it, you don't feel it. Fact of the matter is, your mamshech in sof. right? Somehow the Alter Rebbe manages to, so to speak, say, Chach afilu, this is Yiddishkeit, nevertheless the Kavanah is more Gilui. And frankly, I'm not sure the Havana, but this is what it says here. This is the Pshat. Okay?